EP49 opening script. Finalist second Proud Korean Screenplay Competition. Original screenplay, Scorpio, adapted into the 123 episode. Epic spy thriller, Beauty Spy War. Episode 49, Shin Jeong-min's Dream, and the Myohyang Mountain, Guest House Visitor. Episode 48 recap. What exactly do you mean? My behavior pattern is very different? Dr. G erupting with anger. The power of science that reveals the truth. I said it so you could feel that bone cruelly in your mouth. Daebom quietly moved by Dr. Go's brilliance. Magnificent, Eun-hee. Dr. G's research lab night. Acoustic foam holes on the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1,000,001. 1,000,002. 1,000,003. She was deliberately fragmenting her mind. Monk Samyang and the icicles. Cold, you fools. Stoke the fire harder. How did you become this cowardly, this small? Our Dr. G Jang-woo? I have always respected you, and I always will. Dr. G steadying his ragged breath. There may be forces protecting her. I feel a chill running through me, a technique that can kill. Look around you, it's always been there, right beside you. Good night, Daebom. Dream of me. Kiss kiss, kiss kiss. Today's episode 49, Director Jo, collapsing into bed, every bone heavy with exhaustion, drifting slowly into a dream, a familiar face, in a dark and gloomy world. The days when he was the youngest on the investigation unit. A young Jo name badge reading. Jo Seong-tae, the counterintelligence chief's piercing voice. Bring that son of a BH in right now, without a soul knowing. Drag him in quietly. Black military jeep, tearing down the highway. Black smoke trailing behind. Busan Yeongju-dong, hillside road. Crumbling row houses, packed tightly together. The honeycomb slums. Where is Shin Jeong-min's house? He has a daughter, elementary school age? An investigator disguised as a school teacher. I'm a teacher from Eugene Girls Middle School. A young girl peering through a crack in the door. Dad, those aren't our school teachers. There are no teachers like that at our school. Dad, Dad, run away now. Shin Jeong-min, barefoot, trying to flee. An investigator strikes his forehead with a pistol, blood flowing down from the crown of his head, dragged away in handcuffs. Father, father, please let my father go. A small girl blocking the investigators with both arms spread wide. A little girl's small hands pulling off her own socks in the bitter cold, trying desperately to pass them to her barefoot father, reaching almost touching, but never quite grasping, the sock, falling from Shin Jeong-min's hand, slowly, drifting down to the ground. In slow motion, a little girl, sitting on the frozen ground, wailing, stretching her hand slowly toward the black jeep, disappearing down the hill. Director Jo reaching for that hand in his dream, a warmth in the haze of half-consciousness, someone holding his hand, waking with a start. Who is Shin Jeong-min? You kept calling that name in your sleep. Thank goodness it was a dream. Director Jo wiping steam from the bathroom mirror, his face slowly emerging, staring hard at his own eyes in the mirror. Damn it all. Operative Una returns. A round of applause. You've been through a lot. Don't feel resentment toward the organization. A presence following him into his office. Director, it's good to see you. Jongbeom. What brings you here? There's some news lately that's been stirring my curiosity. You know the spy, Shin Jeong-min, arrested in Busan a long time ago? The same Shin Jeong-min from his dream being mentioned now? What kind of day is this? Someone who used to work at the Myohyang Mountain guest house has come over. That's right, with very valuable information. The location is a bit difficult to say. Director Jo's brow furrowing with tension. What is this? Are you trying to make a deal with me? What exactly is this? Episode 49 begins now. Episode 49. Shin Jeong-min's dream and the Myohyang Mountain guesthouse visitor. The moment Director Jo lay down on the bed, his body felt like 1,000 pounds. As if the accumulated fatigue of years had finally pressed down all at once. As though someone was stepping on every inch of his exhausted body and pushing down. If only he could sink into a deep sleep. Director Jo had found lately, perhaps with age, that even getting a proper night's rest was no longer easy. He was slowly drifting into a dream. And in the dim and gloomy atmosphere, someone appeared. Who is that? A very familiar face. The days when Director Jo had been the youngest on the investigation unit came into view. Everywhere people in military officer jackets. Among them a young director. Jo with a name badge reading Jo Seong-tae pinned to his chest. Jo Seong-tae in the dark and oppressive mood of that era. Unusually sharp and disciplined, the youngest investigator, Jo Seong-tae, had been caught in traffic and arrived slightly late. Shuffling into the office with nervous energy from the very entrance, anxious about what would happen if a thundering reprimand came down. Steam rising gently from the kettle on top of the stove. Senior investigators receiving orders from the fearsome chief. The quick, practiced hands of investigators. loading pistols and pocketing handcuffs. Among them young investigator Jo Seong-tae, diligently gathering his own equipment. The counterintelligence chief giving orders with eyes full of intensity. Voice ringing sharp and clear. The counterintelligence chief, eyes with deep double lids, unusually white pupils. A small frame with a solid build. A slightly husky voice echoing through the compound. Hey, is it confirmed Busan is where he's been hiding since the last contact? Yes. It is our assessment that he is currently in hiding in the Beetle area of Yeongju-dong, Busan. The investigator shook hands with the chief as he answered. Isn't that the area that used to be a settlement of refugees from the old days? Yes. That is correct. Bring that bastard in right now. Without a soul knowing, drag him in quietly. Yes, sir. We will deploy to Busan immediately and bring him in. Loyalty. The counterintelligence unit was famously strict in its atmosphere. Investigators snapped to attention and saluted sharply. A black military jeep standing in front of the building entrance. Investigators climbing into the vehicle. Black smoke billowing from the rear of the investigation vehicle. Tearing down the highway without hesitation. A road sign pointing toward Daejeon flashing past in the distance. White breath visible in the cold air. The frost on the car window a nuisance. The youngest Jo Seong-tae, wiping the car window glass with the sleeve of his jacket. Hey youngest. Yes. You idiot. If you wipe it with your jacket sleeve, it just gets greasy and looks terrible, doesn't it? Yes. I'm sorry. I'll correct that. Look at those eyes. No killer instinct. Not a single drop of it. No, sir. I will work harder. You fool. Make people want to wet themselves just from your stare. That's what I'm telling you. Understood? Yes. Understood. The Busan toll gate was already visible. In the distance the Yeongju-dong hillside road climbing the Busan slopes. Crumbling old detached houses lined up tightly along the road. Plank houses and honeycomb slum dwellings clustered together in dense groups. Snow falling in the cold winter, the atmosphere looked endlessly peaceful. The black military jeep struggling up the Yeongju-dong hillside road. In Busan, belching black smoke. Up close the crumbling plank houses, detached homes. And honeycomb slums were packed even more tightly together than they had appeared. Dark and grimy. A neighborhood with a dim, run-down feeling. One investigator stepped out of the vehicle. Approaching a local resident and showing a composite sketch. Where is Shin Jeong-min's house? He has a daughter, she's in elementary school? Don't go right at the utility pole, go left, straight down that road. And you'll hit a dead end. It's on the right side of that. Thank you. The resident nodded as if they had a rough idea who was being asked about, and gave a short explanation. The investigator listened with a nod, offered thanks, and headed up quickly. In front of Shin Jeong-min's house, calling the name of his daughter, Shin Soo-ji, several times disguised as her school teacher. Soo-ji, Soo-ji, are you in there? Is this Shin Soo-ji's house? Who is it? A lean man with not much flesh on his face came shuffling out from inside the house in slippers. The investigator looked Shin Jeong-min up and down quickly. The face matches the photo. Confirming the face, he asked again whether this was Soo-ji's house. This is Soo-ji's house, isn't it? Yes, it is. But where have you come from? Well now. Found the right place. I'm a teacher from the school Soo-ji attends. A teacher? A home visit? All the way out here to this humble place? Yes. I'm a teacher from Eugene Girls Middle School. Is Soo-ji home right now? Has something happened to our Soo-ji? Why are you here like this? It's nothing particularly serious. Nothing to worry too much about. Just then Soo-ji inside the house, straining to hear the sounds from outside, peered through a crack in the door. Oh, you're Soo-ji, aren't you? What a pretty face. Shin Jeong-min looked alarmed, wondering if his daughter had gotten herself into some kind of trouble. Soo-ji, who had been watching from inside cautiously, came out. Soo-ji knew in that moment that the people outside were not school teachers. At school with her friendly nature, she knew everyone, the snack stand lady, the cafeteria sister, all of them, every face. Soo-ji feeling in an instant that they had come to arrest. Her father began to tremble. Looking at her father, her expression shifted in a strange way, as if she might cry or might not, and she cried out, "Dad, those aren't our school teachers. There are no teachers like that at our school. What is this girl saying? Isn't she saying they're teachers? Those aren't our school teachers. Dad, Dad, run away now. What is this?" Shin Jeong-min, sensing in an instant that something had gone wrong, trying to quietly turn and slip away, his slippers came off. Ignoring this, Shin Jeong-min trying to flee barefoot, not letting this pass an investigator, moving swiftly to clamp one hand in handcuffs. A large fist came flying. The investigator went down backward. The moment an investigator grabbed him from behind Shin Jeong-min, attacking with his elbow. Shin Jeong-min pulling a knife from his pocket, fighting back fiercely. But a powerfully built investigator grabbing the wrist that held the knife, slipping under the body and flipping him over in a judo-like motion, slamming him to the ground. An investigator's thigh lightly slashed by the blade, striking the opponent's torso with a knee, kicking the heel, slamming him face first into the ground. The moment Shin Jeong-min tried to get up again and resume the struggle, an investigator, as if he had been waiting, striking Shin Jeong-min's forehead forcefully with a pistol, the crown of Shin Jeong-min's head splitting open, red blood flowing down. His legs giving way, handcuffs snapped onto Shin Jeong-min's wrists. Forced to his knees, bound with handcuffs and rope, dragged away by the investigators. "Father, father. Please let my father go. Watch yourself. Step back." Soo-ji, startled, feeling as if fate itself was closing in on her father, spread both arms wide and stood blocking the investigators. Soo-ji crying, begging them to release her father, grabbing the investigator's trouser leg and shaking it. The youngest Jo Seong-tae clapping his hand over the crying Soo-ji's mouth, forcibly separating father and child. Shin Jeong-min's hand, even as he was dragged away, reaching to take Soo-ji's hand. But he never managed to take his daughter's hand in the end. Soo-ji's small hands straining with everything. She had to pull off her own socks in the bitter cold and pass them to her barefoot father. Shin Jeong-min's hands, reaching, almost there, never quite grasping, dropping the sock. The sock slowly its descent to the ground, playing out like a slow-motion sequence. Little Soo-ji sitting on the ground, wailing, watching the black military jeep descending the hill without end. Soo-ji slowly stretched out her hand as if trying to catch the jeep. Director Jo, in his dream, trying to take that hand his hand could not reach. And yet in the haze of fading consciousness, the feeling of someone taking his hand, clearly too far away, a distance at which hands could not possibly touch. And yet someone's hand, taking his. But it was warm, even though it was only a dream. Like the warmth of a living person's body heat. He blinked his eyes open and someone was there. Director Jo, startled by the woman standing before him, jolted awake from his sleep. Oh, what oh! He came out of the dream with labored breathing. A woman standing there, holding his hand. As his focus slowly returned, his wife was looking at him. "Oh, you startled me. Why are you standing there? What kind of sleep is that, sleeping so roughly? You were raising your hand, like you were firing a gun into the air. Was I dreaming? Who is Shin Jeong-min? You kept calling out, Shin Jeong-min, Shin Jeong-min, in your sleep. Well, thank goodness it was only a dream. Who is it? A woman? What are you talking about? It's a man. You were sleeping with your legs curled up like a shrimp, like someone was chasing you. If you sleep like that, you can't even run in your dream." Your legs won't straighten, can't move an inch. Is that why? I couldn't move at all. Hurry up and wash, get ready for work. I've put food on the table. Director Jo in the bathroom. Showering, rubbing the steam-fogged mirror with his hand. His face slowly revealing itself. Looking at the rough, stubbly jawline, he picked up the razor. Why today? Why suddenly this? Long-forgotten chapter of his life, like an old album he had set aside. Those days, bloodshot eyes, madness lurking behind them. A dim and oppressive distant past. The days when the sight of an enemy made him want to devour them. That chilling sharpness of a man determined to crush. He stared hard through the mirror at his own eyes. Damn it all. The NIS small conference room. Operative Una, having received medical treatment, cleared her polygraph examination, and returned safely, was met with a burst of encouraging applause. Director Jo greeted Operative Una, whom he hadn't seen in some time, with a warm expression. You've been through a lot. Not at all. I'm sorry, Director. Think of it as going through the proper procedure. We couldn't just let it pass. Yes, Director. I learned a great deal from it. A fellow operative died, and as someone who was at the scene, this was a process you naturally had to go through. Don't carry resentment toward the organization. Of course. I believe anyone in that situation should go through a polygraph examination. All right, I'll give you a few days off. Take some rest and come back. That won't be necessary. Come back with a clean slate. But don't forget to analyze why this unfortunate incident happened. What was lacking, and what was missed. Yes. Understood. Don't think for a moment that this goes on your performance review and counts against you. That's not my intention. Yes. Thank you. Director Jo left the conference room and entered his office. Perhaps from the strain of these past few days, his body felt like 1,000 pounds. Why has my body been so heavy lately? Is it because this case hasn't wrapped up cleanly? As he entered his office, he sensed someone following behind him. Director Jo turned around. Director, it's good to see you. Oh, Jongbeom. Good to see you. What brings you here? Director, would you spare me a cup of tea? Of course. Come on in. The atmosphere here is still fierce. I can feel the chill. A chill? This investigation unit should have a creeping chill running through it. That's how it should be. How are things going at Daebang-dong these days? Yes. We've been keeping busy with interrogating North Korean defectors. Nothing unusual? Jongbeom, a veteran former investigator, was a colleague who had once worked in close partnership under Director Jo. There's been some news lately that's been stirring my curiosity. Stirring your curiosity? What is it? You know the spy Shin Jeong-min arrested in Busan a long time ago? I know him. A spy I helped put away when I was still a rookie. It's news related to Shin Jeong-min. Director Jo's eyes went wide at the mention of Shin Jeong-min. What kind of day is this? To bring up the very Shin Jeong-min who had appeared in his dream. And to bring up a figure from that long-buried memory at that. That's ancient history. When was that, exactly? A very long time ago. Which is exactly what makes it valuable intelligence. Intelligence? What kind of intelligence? Who is the source? Someone who used to work at the Myohyang Mountain guest house has come over. Myohyang Mountain, you say? And they've brought information? Yes. They've brought valuable information. Exceptionally valuable information. Where is this person now? The location is a bit difficult to say. The space between Director Jo's brows was trembling faintly. What is this? Are you trying to make a deal with me? Right now? What exactly is this? EP49 ending script. Episode 49 highlights. Jo Seong-tae's dream. The distant past. Director Jo. Collapsing into bed. Every bone in his body heavy. Drifting slowly into a dream. Young Jo Seong-tae. Name badge pinned to his chest. A dark and oppressive era. The counterintelligence chief. Sharp double-lidded eyes. Unusually white pupils. Small frame, solid build. A slightly husky voice. Ringing through the compound. Bring that bastard in right now. In right now. Without a soul knowing. Drag him in quietly. Black military jeep. Tearing down the highway. Without hesitation. Hey, you. Look at those eyes. You've got no killer instinct. Not a drop. Make people want to wet themselves. Just from your stare. That's what I'm saying. Understood? Busan Yeongju-dong. The Fateful Arrest. Busan tollgate already visible. Yeongju-dong hillside road. In the distance. Crumbling row houses. Packed tightly together. The honeycomb slums. Snow falling in the cold winter. The scene deceptively peaceful. Where is Shin Jeong-min's house? He has a daughter. Elementary school age? An investigator disguised as a school teacher. I'm a teacher. From Eugene Girls' Middle School. A young girl peering through a crack in the door. Dad, those aren't our school teachers. There are no teachers like that at our school. Dad. Dad. Run away now. Shin Jeong-min. Barefoot, trying to flee. A knife pulled from his pocket. Fighting back fiercely, an investigator strikes his forehead, hard with a pistol, blood flowing from the crown of his head, knees buckling, handcuffed and bound, dragged away. The sock, the greatest scene of EP49. Father, Please let my father go. A young girl, spreading both arms wide, blocking the investigators, grabbing and shaking the investigator's trouser leg, a little girl's small hands, pulling off her own socks, in the bitter cold, trying desperately to pass them, to her barefoot father, reaching almost touching, but the hands never quite meet, the sock falling from Shin Jeong-min's grip, slowly, drifting down to the ground. In slow motion, a little girl, sitting on the frozen ground, wailing, watching the black jeep disappear down the hill, without end, stretching her hand slowly, as if trying to catch it. Director Jo reaching for that hand in his dream, clearly too far to touch. And yet, someone holding his hand, warm, even in a dream, like the warmth of a living person. Jo Seong-tae, in front of the mirror, waking with a start from deep sleep. Who is Shin Jeong-min? You kept calling that name in your sleep. Thank goodness. It was just a dream. You were sleeping, curled up like a shrimp. Couldn't even run. In that dream, could you? Director Jo wiping steam from the bathroom mirror, his face slowly emerging, a jaw rough with stubble. Why today? Why suddenly? This long-forgotten chapter of his life? The days of bloodshot eyes and barely contained fury, the chilling sharpness of a man who looked at enemies like prey to be destroyed, staring hard at his own eyes in the mirror. Damn it all. Operative Un-ah returns. Director Jo's double face. NIS conference room. A round of applause, welcoming Un-ah back. You've been through a lot. I'm sorry, Director. Think of it as standard procedure. We couldn't just let it go. Don't feel resentment toward the organization. Don't think this will affect your performance review. That's not my intention. The truth only the reader knows. Warm words on the surface. A cold duality hidden beneath. Myohyang Mountain Guest House. The information that changes everything. A presence following him into his office. Director, it's good to see you. Jongbeom, a former investigator who once worked under Director Jo. There's some news lately that's been stirring my curiosity. You know the spy, Shin Jeong-min, arrested in Busan a long time ago? The same man from this morning's dream being mentioned now? What kind of day is this? Someone who used to work at the Myohyang Mountain guest house has come over with very valuable information. Exceptionally valuable. The location is a bit difficult to say. Director Jo's brow furrowing with tension. Episode 50 preview. The true nature of the Myohyang Mountain information. Jongbeom's terms for the deal. The connection between Shin Jeong-min and Un-ah. The ripple of Director Jo's past. reaching into the present. What is this? Are you trying to make a deal with me? What exactly is this? Finalist second Proud Korean Screenplay Competition. Original screenplay, Scorpio, adapted into the 123 episode epic spy thriller, Beauty Spy War. New Korean episodes every Monday, Wednesday. Korean compilation every Friday. New English episodes every Tuesday, Thursday. English compilation every Saturday. Thank you for watching. EP50 opening script. Finalist second Proud Korean Screenplay Competition. Original screenplay, Scorpio, adapted into the 123 episode epic spy thriller, Beauty Spy War. Episode 50, The North Dispatched HUMINT, returns alive. Episode 49 recap. Young, Jo Seong-tae, name badge pinned to his chest. Bring that bastard in right now. Without a soul knowing, drag him in quietly. Dad, run away now. Barefoot dragged away in handcuffs. A little girl's small hands, trying to pass her socks to her barefoot father, reaching almost touching, never quite grasping. Damn it all. Operative Una returns. A round of applause. Are you trying to make a deal with me? What exactly is this? Today's episode 50. What I was shocked to find out is that he was a HUMINT. We ourselves had sent the human network already. Embedded inside could be put at risk. Handler Jo Seong-tae, the legendary Gyeongsang dialect. What does your father do for a living? His back is bent from farming. And this is what you're doing? Running activist turned Jeongbeom Province Governor. Jong-hak-soo Kingmaker story. Fingernails, toenails, all pulled out under torture. Not a word. Not once. Because he didn't break. They believed him completely. The miracle of entering Myohyang Mountain guest house, like a salmon released into a river, returning years later. This is Water Beetle. Water Beetle. No one knew what that meant. Hey Water Beetle. Welcome back. I waited for you until I retired. How have you been? A missionary caught in North Korea, broken through temptation and guilt. They squeezed out every last drop, until the person broke completely. Then out of nowhere, Shin Jeong-min is mentioned. Although Shin Jeong-min died on South Korean soil, he is treated as a hero. In the north, his child came up to the Myohyang Mountain guest house. Spy training? Truly that father's daughter boarded a semi-submersible? What kind of situation is this? Shin Soo-ji has gone back, down to the south. What kind of absurd situation is this? Bring that Water Beetle in. Right now. This instant. Episode 50 begins now. Episode 50. The North Dispatched HUMINT returns alive. Director, why are you getting so worked up? There must be a reason for it. What reason? What is this? Why is it difficult to tell me? If you come barging in like that without any warning, it puts me in a difficult position. What's difficult about it? Am I a spy? That's not what I meant by spy. Come on, why are you like this? The more you push back, the worse my mood gets. What shocked me is that this person turns out to be a HUMINT we ourselves had sent. A HUMINT? That's why even the director couldn't be told directly. Anyone who crosses over looking for freedom is all the same. That's not the case. Jongbeom shook his head firmly, pushing back hard against the director's view. Not the case? Then what is it? It's because the human network already embedded inside could be put at risk. That's why no one can meet this person directly. Then, what are we supposed to do? The work has to go through the handler. Who was in charge when this person went up to North Korea? A handler? Who in the investigation unit was handling this person? Is anyone even still around? I'll explain gradually. This is someone who was sent up an incredibly long time ago. Then why are you bringing this to me now? Because the handler will manage this directly. And you, director, are the person who needs to support that handler. That's why I'm telling you. Let's open the classified file first. Whoa, why has your temper gotten so short? You're not a toddler. Before we go looking through the historical records, shouldn't you sign the confidentiality agreement first? Fine, do you think I'm going to go spreading this all over the neighborhood? No, it's not that I don't trust you. It's just procedure, isn't it? So this is someone we trained and smuggled into North Korea? And they somehow managed to survive? Yes. This person was lucky. Lucky? Lucky enough to get caught over there. Good grief, how is getting caught over there a good thing? They were caught and endured brutal torture. How is surviving brutal torture a good thing? A person gets completely destroyed. But they didn't die, and that's the good part. My goodness, you really do make things difficult to follow. Just tell it to me straight. Because they didn't die because they endured the torture. They managed to grab the stroke of luck that got them into the Myohyang Mountain guest house. How does that help? Well, they were strong against torture, weren't they? I'm told that North Korea trusted them because of that unbreakable strength under torture. So they passed because of that. Even after shaking out every last bit of their soul, they never talked. So they were believed as genuine? Exactly. So a stroke of heaven-sent luck followed them into the Myohyang Mountain guest house? Yes. Find them and bring them in. I'm curious whether I'd know this person. The handler at the time they went up was Jo Seong-tae. Jo Seong-tae? It's an old name. I feel like I almost remember it. You know, the investigation team leader. Who was in the investigation unit, short in stature. Salt and pepper hair, that rich Gyeongsang dialect? Hometown was Masan, I think? I feel like that senior is coming back to me. Wasn't he famous for his speeches? When they were rounding up the activists in Busan back in the day. Speaking of that, how exactly did he give those speeches that made him so famous? He'd say things like, "What does your daddy do for a living? You little so and so, your daddy's back is bent from farming. And his whole body is breaking down, and this is what you're out here doing. What a waste of rice, you rotten little so and so." That's how he'd educate them. My goodness, giving a lecture in that situation. Just thinking about it is funny. And he was the handler? Yes. It's starting to come back to you, isn't it? Oh, I know that one. It's become a legendary episode in our investigation bureau. Yes. And the activist who was brought in back then as years went by. He's now the governor of Jeonggong province. That's right, Jung-hak-soo, I heard. He said, "You little so and so, stop this protesting nonsense. If you want to change the world into what you want, study hard and walk into the establishment with your head held high." That's what he said. That's right. And that friend really did study hard. And became a heavyweight with serious influence in the political world. So Jo Seong-tae played the role of kingmaker for the big shot. Jeonggong Province Governor Jung-hak-soo. He gets mentioned as a presidential contender every now and then these days. Yes. What's that fellow with the thick-rimmed glasses up to these days? Jung-hak-soo, I mean. Jung-hak-soo may not have the influence he once did, but come election season, he still gets plastered all over the newspapers as a dark horse candidate, doesn't he? That aside, I need to meet Jo Seong-tae myself. The man with the salt and pepper hair. I'll arrange a meeting. Good. But I wonder, how did that person ever get through the torture? When they were infiltrated into North Korea at the time, their fingernails and toenails were all pulled out under torture. And then did they say, "I am a spy infiltrated by a South Korean intelligence agency," and confess? Confess? They didn't budge even under the worst of the torture. Where is the person who can withstand torture? Every now and then there are people born with an unusual physical constitution, aren't there? How did they end up being believed? Because they didn't break even under torture. North Korea just believed them unconditionally. Why believe them? What were they going to use them for? This person is not a spy who infiltrated from South Korea. If we train this person, there will be uses for them. They believed that? That's what they said when they were met afterward, apparently. But how did they end up crossing back? And how did they know to look for handler Jo Seong-tae first? Strange, isn't it? It's like a salmon released into a river. A salmon comes back years later to the very river it was released into to spawn. That's right, they really came back like a released salmon. Yes. After going through untold hardships to cross over, the very first thing they did was call our NIS. They'd want nothing to do with us and yet they called us? That's exactly why they're like a salmon, isn't it? Right, so that salmon like HUMINT, I want to see them even more now. I'm curious. At first even our side didn't know. Why didn't they know? It's ancient history. The handler had already retired. And then out of nowhere, the person who picked up the phone at the office gets told, "This is Water Beetle." Water Beetle, so no one knew. If someone just says Water Beetle out of nowhere, no one would know. That's a call sign. But the junior investigator who took the call knew it instinctively. Now that's a sharp one. So that's how it came to light. Good instincts, right? What if they'd thought, "What a lunatic," and put them through to the police? Or had them thrown in a psychiatric ward? Then it would all go to waste. That's right, that's exactly the right way to put it. Someone calls out of nowhere asking for an investigator. Who's been retired for over 10 years? How would anyone know? No one would know if you're asking for a retired investigator. After nearly 10 or more years like that, people change, phone numbers change, don't they? That's right. Phone numbers change all the time. If someone suddenly says their call sign, no one would know. Wait, what did you say the call sign was just now? Was it water bug? Ha ha ha, even our director has let a lot of time pass. Memory flickering a bit. Not water bug, Water Beetle. Water Beetle? Ha 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 ha, right, Water Beetle. This is no laughing matter. This is serious intelligence. Is that so? And so they said, "This is Water Beetle. Could you put investigator Jo Seong-tae on the line, please? It's urgent." After all that time had passed, how did they still remember the name Investigator Jo Seong-tae? I found that strange too. It must have been difficult to keep reciting that name all along. That right there is what makes someone qualified to be a HUMINT. Our operative thought, this is definitely the returning salmon. How does someone get into a place like that in North Korea? They were lucky. So just think of it as they ended up working in a very important place. Must have had connections with the party. It's more important than the party there. Must have had some special skill. No special skill to speak of, and yet they ended up working at the Myohyang Mountain guest house. Can someone really get into the Myohyang Mountain guest house that easily? Hard to believe, isn't it? I didn't believe it either. At first, investigator Jo Seong-tae certainly picked a good one. It seems he had the foresight to pick people with 20 years in mind. That's exactly why people call him a kingmaker. So what did Jo Seong-tae do when all this came to light? Handler Jo Seong-tae took the returned salmon into his arms. He met them and took them in? I'm curious, what was the very first thing he said? Curious, right? He said, "Hey water beetle, welcome back. I waited for you until I retired. How have you been?" And reconnected with water beetle just like that. So what is water beetle up to these days? Must have gotten quite a reward? Quite a bit, I'd imagine. We're talking about the Myohyang Mountain guest house. The place that trains spies, after all. Did a lot of information come out? I'm curious. Tell me more. You know about the missionary who went to North Korea to help and got caught. Yes, I remember. How did that person end up losing their mind? I heard they went mad. They kept him awake, beat and tortured him relentlessly, creating a complete mental collapse. Apparently there was a great deal of psychological pressure too. They must have threatened to kill the family a lot. The story goes that they tried to corrupt a very innocent soul. Can a mind so deeply rooted in religious conviction be broken that easily? That's why through imprisonment and torture, in trying to reshape the mind, it seems they gave tremendous physical suffering. Did they brand them with fire? What kind of torture? That kind of pain too, but apparently they corrupted the devout moral discipline that religious people hold most sacred and filled the mind with guilt. Corrupting a religious person? Is that even possible? He said they used female operatives to wear down the body and feed the demons in the mind. So that's how a person loses their mind. They corrupted a devout Christian, tore them to shreds. In a word, they squeezed out every last drop and dried them out completely. Until the person broke. Then this is a tremendously important figure, who must have been involved in spy training. Among North Korean defectors, an exceptionally unusual case. That's right. And then strangely enough Shin Jeong-min came up in the conversation. But why Shin Jeong-min? That's ancient history. It's not like he went up there. Director Jo jolted as if burned. The moment Shin Jeong-min, the very person from his dream, was mentioned. Yes. Although Shin Jeong-min died on South Korean soil, he is treated as a hero in the North. Treated as a hero? And his child apparently came up to the Myohyang Mountain guest house. His child? To the guest house? How did they get there? What for? It's not tourism. It seems they came up to receive spy training. Spy training? Truly that father's daughter. A real hero has emerged. Fierce, isn't she? Blood doesn't lie, as they say. Do you know the name, physical characteristics, anything else? All we heard was that she grew up in the South and one way or another boarded a semi-submersible to go up. Boarded a semi-submersible? What kind of situation is this? It means a covert operations vessel was coming and going. That's one way to look at it. She must be thoroughly armed ideologically too. Yes. She probably thinks her father was unjustly arrested. Her animosity toward the South will be at its peak, and she would be looking to avenge her father. We really need to know. Shin Soo-ji's face, physical characteristics, any distinguishing features. The handler asked, but they wouldn't say. They won't say? Why? Well, is that also a bargaining chip? Or are they asking for more money by raising the price of the information? That does happen with these folks sometimes. Is that so? Where is this person now? They've left Hanawan and learned wallpaper installation. Wallpaper installation is good work. Hard, but seems there's quite a lot of work. They go around doing wallpaper installation in a grandeur. Ask around, let's meet them together with the handler. Even if you meet them, these folks tend not to tell you everything they know. Wouldn't talking more mean more reward money? There have been cases where saying a few more words gets you mistakenly suspected of being a disguised defection spy. So they answer only what they're asked, and if you don't ask, they keep their mouths shut. This person too seems to have a rough sense that they know something but wouldn't open their mouth. Sealed spy training is thorough man-to-man education. Even the oldest hand at the guest house probably wouldn't know much. I heard that sealed training subjects are prevented from ever meeting each other. Partitions installed. Separate entrances, completely separated movement routes. But you know, no matter how thoroughly people try, someone connected to the guest house would still know at least some basic characteristics. And yet Shin Soo-ji, who had received the sealed training, apparently went back down to the south. Shin Soo-ji went back down? What kind of absurd situation is this? Yes. It's mind-boggling. Bring me that water beetle. Right now. Immediately. EP50 ending script. Episode 50 highlights. Water Beetle returns. The HUMINT's secret. What I was shocked to find out is that he was a HUMINT. We ourselves had sent the human network already. Embedded inside. Could be put at risk. No one can meet him directly. Only through handler Jo Seong-tae. Someone sent up, a very long time ago. Torture and miracle. Myohyang Mountain guest house. Fingernails and toenails, all pulled out under torture. Not a single word. Because he didn't break even then. They believed him unconditionally. Right. That's exactly it. The miracle of entering Myohyang Mountain Guest House. Born from unbreakable strength. The legendary handler, Jo Seong-tae, short in stature, salt and pepper hair, rich Gyeongsang dialect. The legendary investigation team leader. What does your father do? His back is bent from farming. His whole body is worn out. And this is what you're doing? The activist he arrested, now Jeonggong Province Governor, Jung Hak-soo. Stop this protesting, if you want to change the world. Study hard and enter the system properly. The foresight to choose a person, with 20 years in mind. The Kingmaker's Eye. The Salmon released. Water Beetle's return. This is Water Beetle. Water Beetle. No one at the office knew. A junior investigator, who sensed it instinctively. This is definitely the returning Salmon. Hey Water Beetle, welcome back. I waited for you until I retired. How have you been? Now driving a grandeur, working as a wallpaper installer. The Missionary. Secrets of Myohyang. A missionary caught in North Korea. They kept him awake, beat and tortured him, relentlessly, creating mental collapse. They corrupted the devout, moral discipline that religious people hold most sacred, and filled the mind with guilt. They squeezed out every last drop, until the person broke completely. Shin Soo-ji. The shocking revelation. Shin Jeong-min mentioned. Director Jo jolted, as if burned. Although Shin Jeong-min died on South Korean soil, he is treated as a hero. In the north, his child came up to the Myohyang Mountain guest house. Spy training? Truly that father's daughter. Semi-submersible. Sealed training. Separate entrances. Completely isolated movement. Shin Soo-ji has gone back. Down to the south. What kind of absurd situation is this? Bring me that water beetle. Right now. Immediately. Episode 51 Preview. The meeting with Water Beetle. Director Jo draws closer to Shin Soo-ji's identity. Handler Ji Sang-tae's next move. Is Eun-ah safe? Finalist second Proud Korean Screenplay Competition. Original screenplay, Scorpio, adapted into the 123 episode. Epic spy thriller, beauty spy war. New Korean episodes every Monday, Wednesday. Korean compilation every Friday. New English episodes every Tuesday, Thursday. English compilation every Saturday. Thank you for watching.